Washington, D.C., the heart of American politics, was about to face a storm. The United States was left reeling as Canada took a bold step, seizing control of its nickel supply. This move threatened to bring the burgeoning electric vehicle industry to its knees. That headline hit America like a thunderbolt, sending shockwaves through every corner of the nation. Canada, long considered America's closest ally, had just announced stringent controls on nickel exports, an essential component for electric vehicle batteries. This drastic move came just a day after the U.S. imposed heavy tariffs on Canadian electric cars, aiming to shield its own industry from foreign competition. Instead of protection, it triggered an unexpected crisis, leaving policymakers scrambling for solutions. Ottawa's message was clear and uncompromising. Future nickel shipments would be reviewed, with priority given to Europe and Asia, leaving the U.S. out in the cold. American automakers and battery manufacturers found themselves abruptly cut off from their primary source of nickel. Production lines faced imminent shutdowns, threatening thousands of jobs. The green energy revolution, once a beacon of hope, now seemed in jeopardy. The border, once a symbol of trust and cooperation, now felt like an insurmountable wall. Canada calmly explained its stance. If its finished products weren't welcome in the U.S., it would seek new markets for its resources. Wall Street, unprepared for such a shift, panicked. Stocks for automakers and battery companies plummeted, reflecting the uncertainty and fear gripping the market. Experts warned of a looming supply chain nightmare. How could America continue to build EVs without a steady supply of nickel? This crisis wasn't just about cars. It was about jobs, climate goals, and America's standing on the global stage. The long-standing U.S.-Canada friendship had been taken for granted, now tested like never before. Now, America faced a new, uncertain reality, with families and industries bracing for impact. The world watched closely as two allies turned into rivals overnight, altering the geopolitical landscape. The stakes were high. The future of clean energy leadership hung in the balance. The crisis had only just begun, with no clear resolution in sight. For well over a century, the United States and Canada have shared more than just a border. They've built one of the world's most enduring and powerful economic partnerships. From the earliest days of railroads and river trade to the rise of modern highways and digital commerce, their economies have grown side by side, deeply connected in ways few other nations can claim. Every single day, billions of dollars in goods and services cross the border, fueling industries and creating millions of jobs on both sides. This constant flow of trade has become the lifeblood of countless communities. Their industries, especially autos, are deeply intertwined. Engines built in Michigan, transmissions crafted in Ontario, and final assembly happening in Ohio. Parts and expertise move seamlessly back and forth, making North American cars a true joint effort. Landmark trade agreements like NAFTA and later the USMCA made this integration possible. By removing barriers and encouraging cooperation, these deals fostered decades of prosperity and innovation. Leaders on both sides understood that what benefited one country would inevitably benefit the other. Their shared vision was built on trust and mutual gain. This partnership became a global model of economic cooperation, admired and studied by nations around the world. That's why the sudden eruption of a trade war over electric vehicles and nickel came as such a shock to both countries. The supply chains were so tightly connected that any disruption in one country inevitably caused pain in the other, threatening jobs and livelihoods. For many Canadians, the new U.S. tariffs felt like a betrayal, undermining decades of trust and cooperation that had been carefully built. The move seemed to ignore the long history of partnership that had made both nations strong and prosperous. Now, the very foundation of North American prosperity appeared to be cracking, putting the future of countless workers and businesses at risk. The world watched closely, wondering, could this once unbreakable partnership survive the storm, or was a new era of uncertainty beginning? Nickel, a silvery metal, once just for stainless steel, was long overlooked by most people, quietly serving its purpose in the background of modern industry. But in recent years, nickel became the linchpin of the electric revolution, transforming how we think about energy and transportation. Scientists discovered that adding nickel to EV batteries made them not only more powerful, but also more affordable and able to last much longer than before. The best lithium-ion batteries now rely on nickel-rich cathodes, which allow electric cars to travel farther on a single charge, making them more practical for everyday drivers. Nickel also helps cut costs by replacing pricier and less abundant metals like cobalt, making green technology more accessible. Beyond just cars, nickel is crucial for massive batteries that store energy from solar panels and wind turbines, helping to stabilize renewable power grids. It's the silent workhorse of clean technology, quietly powering the fight against climate change and enabling a cleaner, greener future for all. As demand surged, countries worldwide scrambled to secure reliable nickel supplies, recognizing its growing strategic value. Canada, with some of the world's richest deposits, quickly became a strategic powerhouse in the global nickel market. For years, the U.S. relied on Canada's friendly supply, trusting in this partnership to fuel its own clean energy ambitions. But as nickel's value soared, so did its geopolitical importance, drawing the attention of governments and investors alike. Nickel was no longer just a commodity. It had become the key to both economic growth and national security in a rapidly changing world. The U.S. had underestimated its importance for too long, failing to anticipate the risks of supply shortages. Now the consequences were clear, and the race to secure nickel had truly begun. The crisis began with a bold move in Washington. The U.S. imposed a 25% tariff on Canadian electric vehicles, aiming to boost domestic manufacturing and jobs. The hope make Canadian cars pricier, push companies to build in America. But this protectionist policy ignored the deeply integrated North American supply chain. Automakers had invested billions in Canadian plants. The tariff threatened those investments. The U.S. bet Canada would accept the new rules. But it overlooked Canada's leveraged control of critical raw materials. The focus was on finished cars, not the resources needed to build them. That oversight would prove disastrous. Canada struck back with precision. Prime Minister Trudeau announced export controls on all nickel, raw and processed. Licenses would favor countries open to Canadian goods. The U.S. was left out. Canada quickly signed new deals with Europe and Asia, securing its place in the global EV race. The move punished the U.S., creating chaos for American manufacturers. At the same time, Canada repositioned itself as a full partner in the clean energy supply chain, not just a raw material supplier. It could mine, refine, and build EVs. The message was clear. Canada would use its resources to protect its interests. The world took notice. The balance of power was shifting. The impact on the U.S. was immediate and severe. Nickel prices soared as American companies scrambled for new, distant suppliers. Battery makers faced skyrocketing costs and shortages. Automakers in Michigan, Tennessee, and Texas halted production. New EV models were delayed. The tariffs meant to help U.S. industry now made American cars more expensive. The clean energy transition stalled as battery storage projects faced delays and cost overruns. Workers faced layoffs. The supply chain was broken. America's focus on innovation and assembly had ignored the need for secure raw materials. The assumption that resources would always be available proved dangerously wrong. The crisis exposed a critical vulnerability in America's industrial strategy. Dependence on foreign minerals had backfired. The policy meant to protect the industry had put it at risk. The lesson was harsh and costly. As America struggled, Canada seized the moment. Massive investments in refining and processing turned raw nickel into high-value battery materials. With new trade deals, Canada became the world's most sought-after partner for ethical, sustainable EV supply chains. Made in Canada batteries were in demand. Canada was no longer just a resource supplier, it was a green energy superpower. The trade conflict flipped the North American balance of power. Canada gained leverage and global influence. For the U.S., the crisis was a wake-up call. True economic security means controlling critical resources, not just manufacturing. Relying on even friendly neighbors is a risk. America now faced a long, expensive search for new nickel sources. The nickel shock of 2025 changed the rules of the clean energy game.